I hate the term AI SEO. I hate the term GEO, which stands for Generative Engine Optimization. For those of you not in the know, I hate all these new terms for SEO because it's still SEO. Just because people are using a different search engine other than Google does not mean it's not still a search engine. It's still search engine optimization. Google doesn't own SEO, which is funny for me to say this because for the longest time I would say that, well, when we talk about SEO, we're really talking about Google, right? We got to play by their rules. So to be clear, Google's not, at least at the moment, it's not losing anything in terms of online search. It still dominates online search. It is losing some footing there to things like ChatGPT and Claude and the various chatbots. That doesn't mean that using a chatbot is not SEO. We're trying to get the chatbots to mention you is not SEO. It's still SEO. Does your strategy need to change a little bit if you want to show up in those searches? Yeah, it does. Your SEO strategy will need to change a little bit. It's still an SEO strategy. So I hate using the term AI SEO, GEO, all that. Ugh. I don't really mind. I also hate GEO in particular because AI does not generate anything. I'm so sick of people talking about AI generated this, that, and the other. AI doesn't generate, AI regurgitates. It takes what it's been given and it regurgitates it for you and says, here, is this what you want? And you're always like, yeah, kind of, but not really. So nothing is AI generated. That's just not a thing. I do kind of like one of the terms, the new terms is AEO, which stands for Answer Engine Optimization. And that I can get on board with because there is a little bit of a difference between going to Google and looking for a link or looking for a source versus I just need an answer. I'm just going to go to a chatbot and have the chatbot give me the answer, go, okay, great, thanks, and then get on with my day. So that one I'm a little more okay with. But again, it's still SEO people. All that being said, I found myself in a conversation this morning with someone we're talking about having me come into her group to give a presentation on AEO and AI SEO. And we were talking about how we want to talk about this presentation. And I was like, yeah, we should probably talk about AI SEO, have that somewhere in the title, because then people actually know what we're talking about. If we just say SEO, people are going to assume I'm only talking about Google. And this talk really is geared specifically towards getting mentioned by the chatbots. So yeah, we got to talk about AI SEO. So am I just like a flip-flopper? Am I not being authentic when I do this? No. The reason that I do this is because I know that I need to use the language that my people are using. If someone knows what AI SEO is and that's what they're looking for, that's what I need to be talking about. And that's how I need to be talking about it. If I just refuse to use the language that they're using and I stick with SEO, they're going to assume that I'm using something outdated. They're going to assume that I'm using only tactics and strategies that worked, even just a few years ago, and that I don't know what the chatbots are looking for or how they work. So yeah, you gotta sometimes use the language that your people are using even when it drives you crazy. Because the point is to get in front of them. The point is to earn their trust, to get their attention, get them to perk up and say, oh, I have been wondering about that. I do want to see this talk or listen to this podcast or read this article or whatever your content is. That's how you do it, is not only by getting in front of them, but by using their language. So A, they understand you, and B, that makes them perk up and go, yes, I want to know more. So that is my tip for you today. Even it's not quite the customer is always right because I don't believe that the customer is always right. But in terms of language, you got to use the language that they are using, not the language you want to use. So that is my tip. And if you need help with that, if you need help figuring out the language your audience is using, if you need help creating the content with their language and incorporating that in there, I am always happy to do that. You can get more information like this over on my YouTube channel, Allison Verhalen Content Marketer. You can also find me over on LinkedIn. I think I'm the only Allison Verhalen on there. And of course, there's my website, which is AV, as in my initials, Allison Verhalen. That is avwritingservices.com. And you can reach me directly at info@avwritingservices.com. That's it. Have a great weekend. Happy blogging, everyone.